This is one of the hardest things for a lot of us to do. Really, really hard. And it's really hard for me, which is why I feel like I have to talk about it, to accept that you're going to disappoint people. We're not going to make everybody happy. That people pleasing is a losing proposition. And I was reading this New York Times article recently, and one of the things that they said in there is that people pleasing is an act of deception. I was like, ooh, I've never heard it phrased like that before. But when you think about it, it really is. When we're just trying to make sure that our ultimate goal is to not disappoint another person, what we're often doing in the midst of that is we're kind of sacrificing our own needs or desires or wishes or feelings because we're so concerned about making sure that that person is not disappointed in us and that they accept us no matter what. But the problem with that is we're not showing up genuinely when we're doing that. And so sometime later down the road, when we have some resentment that comes up in the relationship and we bring up that situation where we felt forced into it, that person's like, you seem like you wanted to be a part of that. But we were so concerned about disappointing them that we weren't actually honest with them. And so something that's important for us to keep in mind as we think about this is that we do not control other people's feelings. And hey, good news, we're also not responsible for them. We're not responsible for other people's feelings. It's a lot to be responsible for our own feelings. I'm gonna just speak on my own perspective on that one. That's a challenge enough anyway. So good news, you're not responsible for anybody else's feelings but your own. And so it's important for us to think about what are the ways that we can show up more courageously and more honestly, that we don't focus so much, especially in a time of a pandemic, that our ultimate goal, our number one goal is not making everybody else happy, because you will lose that game. There's no one can win that game, at least not forever. For a period of time you can put on a mask and you can kind of pretend like that's working, but at some point you're gonna have to let somebody down and have to deal with that. And I feel like I disappoint at least one person a week. I mean, and sometimes I hide when I feel like I'm disappointing somebody, just being totally honest here. Sometimes I hide and I like almost ghost. I do what my therapist called going into a state of tranquil inertia, where I just kind of check out, which is not helpful or healthy, but it's something that I do because I care so much about what people think of me that I don't want to let anybody down. So think about your own experience with people pleasing this week. What are some ways that you often get caught up in that, where you deny your own feelings or needs or desires or wants or wishes? And what is maybe one step that you can do, thinking of a situation that's very likely to come up in your life? What is something that you can do to be as concerned with disappointing yourself as you are with disappointing somebody else? So I hope that gives you a little bit of a food for thought today, and that you find it helpful and don't feel so alone if you are somebody who also is a bit of a people pleaser.